it's estimated that about 10% of the United States population is taking an antidepressant. Some 1 in 3 doctor's visits by a female will result in a prescription or offering a prescription for an antidepressant. And the question is, not to be facetious, but does anyone have a prescription antidepressant deficiency? And the answer is no. Now, if you're taking an antidepressant, I don't want to discourage you from doing so. Certainly don't stop taking your prescription medications. But I do want to point out that there are natural options that have clinically shown to be superior oftentimes than prescription antidepressants, which unfortunately have a lot of potential side effects. So I'd like to share with you, if I can get this on here, share with you a little bit about that process. Let's see here if I can find, here we go. So if we look at, well, here's the slide right here. You can see that in any given period of time, you can see that almost 10% of the population in America is taking antidepressants. 1 in 3 doctor visits by women now involve a prescription or an antidepressant. And 1 in 10 American women take at least one antidepressant. Many of my patients are taking, 2, sometimes even 3. Americans now spend more money on antidepressants than the gross national product of 2/3 of the world's countries. So what is it about depression in America? Are we the only ones that are depressed? I don't think so. But we oftentimes turn to taking prescription medications that unfortunately can cause numerous side effects. So if you look at the studies, though, we see like a meta-analysis will show us that using a selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor like Lexapro, Paxil, there'll be a new one next week, but Prozac, the original one, these medications are designed to help you reuptake serotonin. And if you look at this little slide, it says that in almost half the studies, they show that up to 70% of those taking an antidepressant, prescription antidepressant, are no better than a sugar pill, no better than placebo. And this is also, the studies show that individuals who are on these medications increase their Hamilton rating scale by 2 points compared to placebo. So not a big difference in their symptoms. They all have potential side effects, including, ironically, anxiety and depression, headaches, muscle pain, chest pain, nervousness, insomnia, drowsiness, lethargy, changes in sex drive, tremors, dry mouth, irritated stomach, loss of appetite, and the list goes on and on and on. Not to scare you, but just to let you know that these medications that are oftentimes giving out kind of cavalier in a cavalier manner, they have potential side effects, and you should know that. Prozac alone is associated with over 1,700 suicide deaths this was year, and 28,000 adverse reactions. So they're not without potential side effects. You have some really good options though. And what I want to share with you is a thing called amino acid therapy, also orthomolecular medicine, which is medicine that is designed to make sure that the body has what it needs and doesn't have what it needs. So it's balancing the chemistry in the body. This was a term, orthomolecular medicine was a term coined by Linus Pauling, 2-time Nobel Prize winner, probably one of the most brilliant, if not the most brilliant biochemist in American history. But in amino acid therapy, what we're trying to do is use the raw ingredients that make these brain chemicals. So neurotransmitters are produced from the amino acids that we eat. These amino acids are in food. So anytime you eat protein, they have amino acids in there, which are the building blocks to make these brain hormones, these brain chemicals or neurotransmitters. Certain amino acids, when they're combined with B vitamins and minerals, in particular magnesium, they turn into the brain chemicals that some of us are deficient in. So the neurotransmitters that cause excitatory reaction that are stimulating are called catecholamines, and these catecholamines are amino acids, neurotransmitters, or epinephrine and norepinephrine, and they come from an amino acid, again, that you would get from protein foods. They come from phenylalanine and tyrosine. And then inhibitory or relaxing neurotransmitters, including serotonin and gamma aminobutyric acid, or GABA. They come from 5-HTP. Now, I developed years ago, I wrote a book, it's now out of print, Treating and Beating Anxiety, Depression with Orthomolecular Medicine. It's available as an ebook. You can get that on my website, superhealthyhuman.com. Might be able to find an old copy on Amazon, but again, it is out of print. One of the things that I used in that book that has been very helpful over the last couple of decades of working with individuals with fibromyalgia and anxiety and depression issues is this thing called the Brain Function Questionnaire. And if you go to my website, superhealthyhuman.com, you can see the Brain Function Questionnaire. You can take it and it will tell you step by step what you can add to your diet or what you can supplement, what natural supplements you can take to start to make these brain chemicals that you're deficient in. The S group. So if you check 3 or more of these and you have low moods, you have some of these symptoms here on this survey, this questionnaire, then it's a good bet that you're probably low in serotonin. So I just read a few of these. You can read these yourself, but you can see that in the S group, it's hard to go asleep. It's hard to, serotonin really helps with your circadian rhythm, your sleep-wake cycle. So if you're low in serotonin, you oftentimes have difficulty falling asleep or staying asleep. If you're low in serotonin, you often find you're irritable, depressed, have a low pain threshold. That's what we see in fibromyalgia. They have a low pain threshold. Part of that is because they're low in serotonin, but you can see the rest of those there. But if you check 3 or more of these, it means that you may be low in serotonin. 5-hydroxytryptophan, which is an over-the-counter supplement, is an amino acid that when it's combined with B vitamins, magnesium, and vitamin C, it turns into serotonin. The antidepressants, Celexa, Prozac, Cymbalta, Brintellix, Sovella, these medications are like using a gasoline additive. They're used to help you hang on to more gasoline that you have in your gasoline tank to get more mileage out of it. The problem is if you're using a selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor and there's nothing to reuptake, you're running on fumes, you've gotten so run down that you don't have any serotonin, then these medications don't work very well. And that's what we see. And that's why, as I showed earlier, 50% of the time that 70% of the people who are in these studies show that they could take a sugar pill and it's just as effective as taking a prescription antidepressant. But 5-HTP is something you can get over the counter. We have it in the store at superhealthyhuman.com. You can see that. But if you're low in the O group, so the O group is for opioids. If you're low in this, your life seems less complete. You really are shy and insecure. You oftentimes turn to sometimes illegal medications, whether that's alcohol or other things, to help you with opioid or pain blocking medications. So you can see more about the O group and how you would treat this at Super Healthy Human under the Brain Function Questionnaire. And then the G group, now the GABA is relaxing, it's calming. So individuals who are low in GABA tend to have anxiety issues. They tend to be really anxious, can even have panic disorders, hard to fall asleep, hard to stay asleep, hard to turn your mind off, occasionally feel feelings of panic. So you just feel kind of out of control and panicky. These are because you're deficient, your brain's deficient in gamma aminobutyric acid, which this is an inexpensive over-the-counter supplement. You can take it. I've got one called GABA Plus, which is a combination of GABA and L-theanine. And the GABA Plus, once you start taking that, typically works within about 15 minutes after you take it to calm your mind down. It won't make you feel dopey, sleepy, or tired, but it does calm you down. So that's called GABA Plus, and the brain chemical is called GABA. Dopamine. So when you're low in dopamine, life tends to be less exciting. Life tends to be kind of bland. You just less. You don't have a lot of pleasure in life. You have unexplained lack of concern for others. You often have problems with life not being as fun as it used to. You just don't have the enjoyment and the pleasure. And you can read more about dopamine and how to boost that with L-phenylalanine, again, another amino acid that you should be getting in your food, in your protein foods, but you may not be able to get enough. But you can take that as an over-the-counter supplement, or S-adenosyl methionine. This is another supplement that boosts both dopamine and norepinephrine. And so we get to norepinephrine. This is the N group. In this group, you tend to have lower energy, both mentally and physically. And you find it's hard to get going. You're not as driven. You're just not as motivated to do the things that you need to do or want to do. And you tend to be really low, feel really low and depressed. But norepinephrine comes from, again, alpha-phenylalanine and SAMe. So rather than using a gasoline additive like Sevilla, Effexor, Cymbalta, which stimulate norepinephrine and serotonin, you can use over-the-counter amino acids that you can find at any health food store or at the store on the online superhealthyhuman.com, and you can start taking these, and they work rather quickly, work within 20 minutes of taking these to help increase norepinephrine, to give you more mental and physical energy, and they act as a really potent antidepressant. S-adenosine methionine, so you can see that now. You can see that spelled out there, but it's one of the best natural antidepressants out there. There's other studies in here, won't have time to get into, but low thyroid certainly can play a part in that. But the main thing I wanted to encourage you to be able to do is to look at that brain function questionnaire. By going through that, taking that process, and then on the website, you'll see that there's a step-by-step things that you can do to start to boost whatever you're low in. And those protocols are there. They're free to take, for you to take advantage of. And I want to encourage you to go to superhealthyhuman.com and learn more about the brain function questionnaire. Thanks so much for joining me. I look forward to sharing more informative videos with you soon.